Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 185th live stream from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I'm your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. On today's episode, we have another homebrew review for you coming from Hecate. This is a new giant creature, an ice troll, which I know of the standard troll in the monster manual, but I don't know of any elemental trolls. I know of elemental giants, but not elemental trolls. So I'm really curious to see what this actually has, because I want to know if is it just going to be another giant in troll form, or is it actually going to be something new? So join us as we find out exactly what the ice troll has in store for us. But first, as always, updates.
We love updates.
Exactly. Major, super major update. We have a subathon this week.
Yes,
this
indeed.
weekend.
We have
Saturday.
a subathon.
It is the very first subathon that we're going to run after being, 2.5 years almost.
Yeah.
About 2.5. Well, 2 years, 2 months, 2 years, 3 months,
something like that.
A little over 2 years, and going on like 9 months of having affiliates. So yeah, it's about time. It's about time we have a subathon. So yeah, that's going to happen on Saturday. I'm really excited. I got all of the work done for it. So I have to figure out the setup the night before. After we do Friday stream, I'll have to set this all up because I'm going to move everything in the back room instead of trying to do it on the laptop. But I have all of the goals. So the sub goals, we have all of those set out. We have a couple of stretch goals.
I saw that list. Very cool.
The main hope is 30. We're going to shoot for 30 subs. That'll be kind of, a nice, like, I feel that's still asking a lot.
Perhaps, but it's a nice goal to have. I feel like
it's still well within, an acceptable range for where we are. So, it'll be nice. But after that, we also have a few other little things that you can do. But we'll have definitely a lot of interesting things. There'll be spicy challenges, sour challenges.
Wild.
There will be information that's available. Obviously the counter will go up with every subscription. So, the timer will continue. There's other ways to make the timer continue. So it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot going on. But the main thing, of course, will be the minis painting and the giveaways. So that's going to be the biggest thing for Saturday. Is we will start at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It will be starting the counter at 6 hours. So that'll take us to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will do some mini paintings. I will be painting a somewhat larger figurine than previously, and that'll hopefully take me a couple hours. And on top of that, Vixie will be joining us, and Vixie will
very cool
want to be part of the festivities, and she will be painting one herself. Kage will be coming in at some point, maybe coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out,
doing a little bit of both,
a little bit of dancing in and out.
Yep.
So we'll be seeing Kage there. He'll also be painting a mini.
Yep.
And we have 2 special guests also cycling in throughout the stream.
It's going to be very cool.
So we have our good buddy, the Wanderer, that we have not had on stream yet.
Yes, that'll be very cool.
Very true to his nature. The Wanderer just so happens to be going on an overnight backpacking trip on Saturday, but wanted to come by and say hi that morning.
That's so dope.
We will be starting I'll be starting the stream, and the first special guest that Vix and I will host is the Wanderer, depending on what time you get there. He'll be doing his own mini, so he'll probably give him the smallest one.
Sure.
And he'll be trying to do that within 2 hours, and then that will be the first giveaway is his. Then he'll be taking off to go do his overnight. Again, I love the fact that that's exactly how that's
kind of fire.
True to his nature, he's coming in and then he's just gonna go head out into the middle of nowhere. Just cause. And then after that, hopefully, either you will have been or will be arriving soon.
Oh, for sure.
And then right when he leaves, we'll be taking a small break, about an hour or so break from painting, because I don't want to get done too quickly. I don't want Vixie's to get done too quickly, because we don't want the giveaways all happen at once.
Sure.
So we'll take about an hour break, maybe get some food, maybe chit chat, depending upon what chat unlocks with the sub goals. There might be some, there might be stuff happening in between that hour, right? There's a lot of things that could be happening. It's either going to be a break or it's going to be full of stuff.
Sure.
And then after that hour, around 1:30, we're going to see a visit from Lucifer, who will be arriving and also doing some mini paintings with us for about 2 hours. His will also be auctioned off. Or not auctioned off, but raffled off for a giveaway.
Sure.
And then he'll be taking off around maybe 3:30 or so, which will bring us towards the end. And depending upon how much gold we've gotten will depend on how long our timer is from there. And there are still plenty of plans if we get past this. But as of right now, the 6-hour block is going to contain myself, Vixie, Kage, the Wanderer, and Lucifer, all painting their own minis, and each mini will be given away live on stream.
Wild.
To someone who's lucky enough to be watching that day.
Now,
and if it's only Soul, then Soul gets 5 brand new. Or like
I was about to ask, like, is it allowed to be?
It depends on how many people are there. Like,
sure.
If it's only going to be Soul and Hecate in chat, then it's basically just going to be a coin toss every single time.
Sure.
If we have a healthy 15 people in chat, then it's going to be that no one can win consecutively.
Sure.
Like if Soul wins the first one, Soul can't win the second one, but then can go for the third one.
Sure.
And you can go for every single one, you just can't win 2 in a row. So, you know, if you want to put in your money and put in for the raffle, like, you know, if you've already won, don't put in your money for the next one. But immediately after that, you can bet for any one you want as long as you didn't win the last one. So something going to be that one. And then we're going to auction we're going to give away all of those. Eventually, what I would like to do is if this is a hit and people really enjoy not only watching us paint, but enjoy the giveaway, I would definitely like to start getting better at mini painting, doing that on stream, and then posting that on the website for like an auction kind of thing.
Oh, that would be very cool.
You know, I could post on the website, start at like $5, basically get my material cost back for the mini, and then people can just go to the website, you know,
get a bunch of our pre-painted minis.
You know, have like a $1 like auction bid, so it's like starts at $5, and then you can just up it by $1 for, you know, however long, and then yeah.
Okay. Clean.
So yeah, like there is a good chance Soul will get a lot of the items. So like, depending on how many people are there, I have a high feeling that you will have that. Last dab. I don't know what you meant by last dab, but yes, somewhat of a Hot Ones challenge. There will be some spicy challenge options. Now, granted, keep in mind, all of these are going to be directed at me. All my guests and co-hosts are more than welcome to join me, but all of these were designed with me in mind, as the primary host and as the one that will be on stream the entire day, because not everybody will be there all day. But anyone can, you know, participate. But, you know, the spicy challenges, the hot challenges, anything else like that will specifically be more directed at me as the victim. So keep that in mind.
Fair enough.
Last dab is a hot sauce. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, wild.
No, well, because I don't know how, again, so the way that it's actually been set up is while on stream, when we go live, the sub goals will be partially hidden and you will only see them as you unlock them.
So you'll only see the next sub goal that you're
at. Yeah, you can see the first one, the second one, and if you look close enough, you can see the third one. But you can't see any past that.
Okay.
But once you start unlocking them, it becomes more visible.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how much I want to say and how much it should be, you know, because I mean, it's like, I think
it's an experience to discover it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like come be a part of the
so I could say this. There are 3 levels to the hot sauce challenge.
Okay.
So the spicy challenge has 3 levels.
Wild.
The sour challenge has, I think, up to like 5 or 6. But they are done differently. How to get me to do.
The spicy has 5 or 6?
Yes, but how you get the spicy only has 3. The sour has like 5 or 6.
Gotcha.
Because I got like a little pack of things.
Okay. Legit.
But the idea is that it's not like the sour thing is more of just a random sour like candy. I did limit it to only one of those per hour, so I'll only eat one because I don't want to destroy the mouth with like
for sure,
sour, you know, because that candy like that can just destroy your tongue, and then I don't want to do anything else and not be able to enjoy other things that we might be doing. So there will be 3 spicy challenges within the sub goals. So 3 levels of a spicy challenge within the sub goals themselves. There are the sour challenges or the sour, you know, like redemptions once per hour, but there's like 5 or 6 of them, so that you could basically do it every hour.
Sure.
But those are a bit/tip goal, so you can only get that. You can make it do that one anytime a certain bit number is reached, or if you donate, basically bits or cash donation, you'll get that.
Got you. Okay.
On top of that, that one's I think that one's a certain price, but a cheaper one under that doesn't have necessarily a limit is the Jelly Bean Boozled.
Oh,
I bought the Bean Boozled game, so anytime someone donates or bits a certain amount, so either cheers or tips a certain amount, I will have to spin the Bean Boozled spinner. find the bean, because that's what it is. It's like a little spinner, and then you find the bean.
And then you don't know which one it's going to be.
Yes. So that one is an option. So so there is a Bean Boozled. There's a Sour. Both of those are anytime redemptions.
Okay.
And then there are 3 levels of spicy challenges within the sub goals.
Okay.
And there's other stuff, and not just. I did not want this to be just a negative effect or just haha, funny things happen.
Sure.
I really also wanted to have more that we can give back to the viewers as well. So there are plenty of direct rewards, both direct for the community, not just making me, make a face,
sure,
or eating something weird, but the community can get a reward, and sometimes an individual can get a reward.
Oh, okay.
So there will be very many different levels of rewards based on what we get.
Very nice. Very nice. I like this.
What if you do Bean Boozled as a challenge? Wait, so what if you do Bean Boozled as a challenge thing you can do? Yeah, that Bean Boozled is the challenge, or you either wrote that before I said that, but yes. But yes, we will be doing Bean Boozled as just a trigger. Just at any point, if we get the right amount of bits or a tip, I just do it. There's no limit to that one until we run out of beans.
Sure.
So quite technically, if someone wants me to eat the whole box, I'd hate you for it.
Yeah.
But if you pay for it, I would just sit there and do it. But yeah, there's those. I don't know what else do I want to hype it, but I don't want to give anything away. So I won't tell you what the hot sauces are, but there are 3 levels. And you will see the Scoville units. Not just the name of the hot sauce, but the accompanying Scoville unit will be accompanied with it.
I've been starting to watch hot ones recently, and when I'm watching them take like the very, very first one and the number of the Scoville units and how they react to it, I'm like, okay, that's like 1,000 something, and you guys like, oh, this is nothing. So like, really, 1,000's not that much. So I need to get better at knowing how spicy the Scoville unit actually is gonna make something, because like Frank's Red Hot is my absolute favorite, like when it comes to everything, and right. I know that Frank's is not that hot, it's not that spicy.
So Frank's Red Hot measures at 2,000.
2,000. Okay.
That is just that is a
pretty average,
very
heat level. Okay.
There's a lot of different Scoville scales, but ScovilleScale.org is actually they actually have their own thing. But we can either do they have a chili pepper and a hot sauce one. So they actually have broken it down.
Okay.
So let's see here. So you have as low, so we're talking about mild peppers, right? So Scoville between 0 and 2,000.
Okay.
That ranges from your bell pepper, your Anaheim, your ancho poblano, like your nothing sauces, right? Sure. Which is why, something like Frank's Red Hot, that's more of like a Tabasco sauce anyway. So it's like, it's those, but more with vinegar, a little bit more vinegar, maybe a little bit of cayenne.
Sure.
Very, very minimal. But once you get into the next level, the 2,000 goes from 2,000 to 50,000. So you can see these ranges are insane. Now you got to remember, Scoville is based on the level of capsaicin. So the level is not necessarily directly, it doesn't seem like it's directly equatable, right?
Sure.
Like, it's not like logarithmic where every unit is a mathematical calculation.
Right.
It is a range of intensity because of the concentration of capsaicin.
Okay.
Which is the whole reason why that is the chemical in peppers that makes it fires the nerve endings that feel pain, which is why it feels like it's hot. It's a chemical that activates the nerve of heat pain.
So it's not theoretically doing anything to you.
Correct.
It's just activating the nerve endings. It's
your body reacts in kind. You salivate.
Gotcha.
Now, granted, there are some other issues because it is very acidic sometimes, and that can actually cause damage.
Sure.
Like there are things that can cause damage, but overall, the concept of something being spicy is not really damaging. But the more spicy something is, it can, have issues with your stomach because it is very acidic, and usually those high concentrations, some people have problems digesting. So it's not to say they're safe.
No, I got you.
But correct, yes. If you're tasting something spicy, nothing is wrong with your tongue. It's literally just your brain thinks it's being on fire because something's telling it, hey, tell it it's on fire.
Got you.
So that's why these numbers seem widely weird. because, you know, when you go from 2,000 to 50K, well, why is that a range? It's the concentration and how that concentration affects the interpretation of it.
Got you.
So anyway, 2,000 to 50K, you're looking at jalapenos. You're looking at Tabasco sauce or cayenne pepper, serrano peppers. Now we go up to the next scale, which is the 50K plus, so 50K to 100,000. So now we're getting into more of a defined jump. So 50K to 100,000. You're looking at like Thai pepper chilies, with those little tiny red chilies in Thai food.
Yep.
And you go above that. So then now you're at the 100K. Now this goes from 100K to 250K.
Okay.
So again, there's no real mathematical.
Sure. But like the chunks are increasing semi-exponentially. Like yes. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
So this includes things like the Scotch bonnet pepper and the Jamaican hot yellow pepper. Scotch bonnet is one of my favorite peppers.
Okay.
So this is the range where when I want something spicy, that's minimum for me. Like when I say I just want to be able to taste it, when I just want something that has spicy in it, 100K is about my minimum. Anything below that, and it is a flavor to me. Like if it's like when it comes to like jalapenos, that is not spicy. That is just a flavor. I don't feel.
You see, it's interesting that you say that, is because to me, like spice has to contain flavor, otherwise it's
boring.
It's just senseless heat.
Exactly. And right? I agree with you. I do not like that when I do spicy challenges, if you give me something that is just pure pain, I will actually rate you a bad score, because that's not like, I need you to give me something that has flavor but is also painful. This is why I love like Thai food. Thai food is so good.
Sure.
There's so much flavor, but it hurts like hell.
It's one of those things where it's like it's hurting you to eat it, but it's like it's calling you to eat it.
Exactly.
Type deal. Like that.
So and this is not like a flex. This is just preference.
No,
this is just a cuisine
for
preference.
sure.
So I'm not trying to say like, oh my God, I can handle so much. No, it just, when it comes down to that, anything below like the 50K, you know, the 100K scale, it's just it's like saying that some people say pepper is spicy because it does have a similar effect to your nerve endings where it makes your tongue tickle in a similar way, but it's not like hot spicy. It's like pepper spicy, right?
Sure.
Most of those things under the 100K are pepper spicy to me. It is a flavor that does something to my tongue, but I don't sit there and go, oh my gosh, that's spicy. It's more of a, that has like a tingle. There's a flavor there that's doing something. But once we get to that 100K, I will be like, oh, that's spicy. Like, let's go. Like, not spicy as in I can't handle it, but I will qualify that as I register it as, I get pain now. Here's my
now I'm qualifying this as spice, and it's not being qualified as,
which sucks, because a lot of places will be like, oh, we have a spicy version of this. I'm like, okay, I'll take it as spicy as you can get it, and it comes out at like, 50 to 70K, and I'm just like, it's a great flavor, very wonderful. Vixie will taste it and start coughing, and I'm like,
yeah,
I just don't feel it. And I'm not, and again, it's not a flex. It's just a, like, when I want spicy, I know at least where I need it to be.
I am what some in the martial arts industry call a deadhead, meaning there are a lot of pressure points that just don't function on me the way they're supposed to, because they've been done on me so many times.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just a tolerance based thing. Like, certain people's tolerance is much lower, like they're much more sensitive to those flavors or whatever the case. I mean, certain people are more sensitive to light than others, you know, so like it can happen, that's for sure. But I feel that, I totally feel that.
So yeah, so that's where you're gonna get those. So once you get to the 250, this goes from 250 to 500, and these are your I don't even know what these are. Red Savina 7-pot yellow. I don't even know what those are. Those are just peppers I've never heard of. And then after 500, it goes 500 to a mil. This is where you're gonna get your Naga Viper, your Komodo dragon.
Feels like it's doubling
your Jalokai. Your boot Jalokai is like your ghost pepper. I believe that's what another term for ghost pepper is, the Jokalai.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So your 1 million and above is your ghost pepper, and then once you get to 1.5 or above, you're looking at your Carolina Reaper, your Trinidad, your Scorpion peppers. Carolina Reaper is one of the hottest. Yeah. And these are just peppers. These are just the pepper form. We haven't even gotten to the sauces.
Yeah.
Sauces go higher. This is just the raw. I'm talking about pulling it off the plant, prepping it properly, you know, drying it out,
Sure.
and then eating it like that. That's what these Scoville units are. So just the absolute pepper itself, the hottest one currently, the hottest, like, you know, like natural one is the Carolina Reaper. As far as I remember, that's currently the top natural one.
Okay.
Now we can move into sauces though. When it comes to hot sauces, Scoville scale works a little differently.
Oh, the whole scale works differently.
Well, just meaning that was just based on the peppers. Now we get into like this is where you start to see the actual scaling. So you have like the smallest on this current scale, which is at 90 Scoville units.
90?
90 is the on their list. This is the, I mean,
2000 is Frank's and we're talking about a 90?
I mean, if everybody wants to see specifically what I'm looking at here,
that's wild.
This is the list.
That is so wild to me.
So 90 is the smallest on the list, is 90 Scoville units. Because you got to remember, based on the pepper, that's like bell pepper, you know, Anaheim. Like this is a flavored sauce. This is a salsa, not a hot sauce.
Sure, yeah. That's what I'm like. That's
So
juice, man. Like, what are you talking about?
I'll scroll real quick. So if anyone wants to see, this is the hot sauce. Like you saw. So remember, I was reading off of this little chart.
Sure.
Just before. This is the list of sauces.
Goodness gracious.
So we have as low as 90, you get the Quaker Steak original barbecue wing sauce. Like just nothing. So Tabasco, here we go. So Tabasco, 300.
Tabasco's 300?
Original Louisiana hot sauce. I mean, one of my favorites. Like one of my favorite flavors is that Louisiana hot sauce, right?
Sure. No, I love
450.
Wild.
I do not consider that spicy. Some people do, but for me, that's a flavor. Louisiana hot sauce is a great flavor. But that is not hot sauce. It's a wing sauce. You know what I mean? It's for eggs.
I mean, I do love me some Frank's on my eggs.
Frank's Red Hot, 450.
450? Didn't we just say it was 2000?
I
swear we just said it was 2000.
Let's see. I think, okay, so let me see. This one, this is the actual Scoville website. So let's see if what I saw was someone misrepresenting. So, Frank's Red Hot original is typically around 4. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped ahead in the sentence. So the first sentence was Frank's Red Hot original sauce is typically around 450 Scoville units.
Got it.
The extra hot version measures 2000.
Got you.
I just skipped to the 2000 and didn't even see the 450.
Okay.
So that's what ended up happening there. Okay, so
I'm tracking.
Frank's Red Hot basic 450, right?
Okay.
Just a sauce, no spice.
That makes a little bit more sense when we're talking about all the other stuff now.
Cholula, another one of my favorites. This is their Cholula Lime, starts at 600. Let's see. Taco Bell lava sauce, 800. Taco Bell lava sauce, 800.
Wild.
Let's see. Trying to look for one.
Is that the hottest Taco Bell sauce that they have?
I think so.
Okay.
Cholula Chipotle hot sauce, 1000, and their garlic hot sauce is 1000. Those are two of my favorite flavors.
Okay.
Let's see. We have more different types of sauces. Oh, Hot Ones, the classic sauce, 1800.
Yes, I remember them. That's being one of the first ones that I ever see them actually do.
And then we'll go up to. I'm just trying to look for names that I know.
If you come across the Last Dab, Soul's wondering what that one's gonna be.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for it. So Flying Goose Sriracha sauce is 3300.
Wild.
Cholula original hot sauce, 3600. So that is their spiciest, is their original. I didn't know that.
For Cholula?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see. A lot of the same brands here are popping up. So of course they're, making hotter and hotter sauces.
Of course. Gotta challenge their demographic.
Hot Ones. Their Los Calientes hot sauce, 36,000. Still pretty low, but getting there. Dave's Temporary Insanity hot sauce, 57,000.
Wild. Dave's Temporary Insanity.
And let's say.
So again, all of these are just flavor to you at this point until you hit 50,000.
Like at least 50,000, I'll probably start to taste, because I mean, we still got, you got like Tabasco scorpion pepper in here, so that's still going to be very like, very much on the Tabasco. But maybe I could probably bring that down to 50. 50 might be where I start to be like, okay, now I'm getting some spice.
Sure.
I just know that like the Scotch Bonnet's one of my favorites, and that's like my preferred spice level.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
So there we go. So Ghost Reaper hot sauce. So a little bit of a blend there. We're in the 116,000. Let's see. Dave's Original Insanity hot sauce, 180,000. Dave's Ultimate Hot Insanity is 250. Buffalo Wild Wings Blazing Hot Sauce, 300,000.
Really?
I've
had that one before.
I've done that challenge.
Yeah.
That one hurts, but not in a bad way. Their original one sucked. Their original one had way less flavor.
Yeah. There's a couple where I'm like, I just won't eat it because I don't enjoy it.
Ooh, Melinda's Red Savina Red Pepper Sauce. This is delicious.
I've never even heard of that one.
577,000. The hottest fucking sauce, 600,000.
The hottest.
Dave's Ghost Pepper. There we are. The Naga Jokolai, 650,000.
Goodness. So we still haven't even gotten to the million that we capped out our other scale at yet.
Correct. I'll have to use this to check some things.
So this website you're looking at right now, this is the official.
This is ScovilleScale.org.
ScovilleScale.org. Goodness gracious.
Let's see. Do we know anything else up here?
Well, we haven't gotten to Last Dab yet, Soul. So it's probably hotter.
That or they just didn't get onto the list.
Oh, that's fair.
Let's see. So we're getting into the 1.5 million now. And Hot Ones Last Dab Redux.
Oh, is that it?
2 million.
Hot Ones Last Dab is 2 milli?
2 million.
Dang.
Scoville.
There you go, Soul. 2 milli.
So let's keep on moving up the scale. So now we're past the peppers. Now this is where you have to really reduce it and get it down. This is where you really want to know what you're doing in getting this. There we go. There is the hottest hot sauce I have ever had. 7.1 million Scoville is the hottest hot sauce I have ever personally had.
God bless America.
It was fucking delicious. You were able to take a toothpick, just barely touch it with the tip of the toothpick, swipe it across your tongue. The next 30 minutes, everything you ate felt like Thai food. Every bite felt like it had a Thai chili.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was literal
that type of sensation where the entire experience. Yeah.
That's what the sauce, like literally the most tiniest amount. I had it at a sushi place and they gave it to us. And that was what we did, is like we would just run it across our tongue, eat a bunch of pieces, do it again. And oh my gosh, that was a hell of an experience.
Interesting.
That is where I capped out. I have not had a sauce hotter than that.
Now, when you say capped out, it's not like you stopped. It was just like,
I just haven't had one yet.
Got you.
And at the time, because that was like a couple years, that was many years ago, I think that was one of the hottest sauces at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it was the hottest in the world, but that was one of the hardest ones to get. So, this thing, that bottle right there is 1 ounce. That's all you get. 1 ounce.
How much is that 1 ounce?
It's not even for sale right now.
Wild.
So, but yeah, it's absolute insanity. 1 drop with water per serving. Just like
1 drop with water per serving. God bless.
Yeah, so that's that. Okay, so we are still looking for the no sauce. We'll see if That one is still on here. We're almost at the top. So the rest of these seem to be from just one company because you have Mad Dog, Texas Cheek, Pure Evil. And these are, see, look at this one. This one is capsaicin drops. This is an extract. Oh, look at that. Everything above this. So officially, the source is still officially the hottest sauce because everything else, look at that. Everything else is an extract. Premium number 9 extract, capsaicin drop extract. I would not qualify as the same thing.
For sure.
I'm not disqualifying their flavors, but I'm still going to say that because look at that jump. It goes from 7 to 9 to 10 to 4 to 14. Like doubling the amount of this, I say is not against the rules, but I don't qualify that on the same level as like a hot sauce. I think that's why it's called an extract, right?
Sure,
I think that so I can still say I've had the hottest hot sauce.
It's probably crazy concentrated is what it is, and so that's where
and then look, pure capsaicin crystals. You know what I mean? Like basically what they did was they took massive amounts of capsaicin and just boiled everything down until it's just pure crystalline form. I mean, this is basically the meth version of spice.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is. It is the purest form of spice.
That's funny.
That's absolutely insane. That's really cool though.
Wild. Well, I pinged Hecate. I have not seen them just yet. They could be busy perhaps, but
yeah, so no sauce is 6 million.
6 million?
Compared to this list, it would be in the realm of these guys right here. So it would be in the likes of Bumblefoot's Bumblefucked,
Wild,
Crazy Uncle Jester, Get Bitten Black Mamba 6, Mad Dog 357 Collector's Edition, and Mad Dog 357 Mark of the Beast are all in the 6 million Scoville range.
Wild. That's hilarious.
So, that does tell me I have to fix something really quick though, and I'm going to not show it because then I don't want to give anything away. But
do we?
I gotta fix something. Now that I'm on this list, now that I have this list in front of me.
Oh, fair enough.
Might as well ensure that the sub goals that I have set are in the right order and have the right Scoville unit.
Oh, fair enough. So you have the specific sauces that you're.
I already have I already have the ones that I'm going to do. I want to make sure because if they're not the right scales that I want, I'm going to have to
see. I wish I had Excel on this box because I can't actually look at what you sent me on here.
So
I could open it up and
let me just double check if I got this right. So, oh,
have I don't think I have.
Plus, I have to go and
I have
look at my my recent orders. I don't want to show that off. So, what am I?
True that.
So first off, I need to figure out what are your
Scoville. Can you like search on that website like for a specific sauce?
I might be able to.
That would be interesting.
Where it was.
Rude.
Oh, hotsauce.com.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
No. Okay, so that's not helpful. This one's just giving me a range, so I'm just gonna assume the upper range of it, just to make it sound better.
Fair enough.
Let's see. So we put that at. Okay, so that one was actually already correct. And then we are gonna do. At 650. Okay, so less than I was hoping. I mean, not that big. I was looking at the pepper, not
the sauce.
Yeah.
Mm. I did.
This is I might have to change up what I'm doing. No, wait, what? How am I getting such
drastically different answers?
Yeah. It's still what we want. It's still the levels I want. We're just not going to go as high. But maybe if people like it, I will definitely
bump it up.
Bump it next time.
Do you have what's the hottest you have in the house? Is the hottest you have in the house one that you're using?
It'll probably be one of these. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to verify this.
That's fine.
It was so much easier to verify the other ones, and this one's like guaranteed. But if I'm using the upper edge of the other two, I guess I can use the upper edge. So we'll see. This one. You say 2.2. I'm not gonna see. I think I'll do 1.2. That's fine. Okay. So, technically, the hottest hot sauce I have will be one of these. So,
okay.
Yeah. So basically, I have a good range. Yeah, that to that. That's fine. No, what I have is great for round one, and if people like it, we'll do more.
Okay.
And we'll do even worse ones in the future.
Fire.
It's just not as big of a jump as I was expecting, but it still works. It's still well within what a proper goal should be, in my opinion. You've done the no sauce before? Interesting. I will have to see if I can get my hands on it, because that will be kind of fun. All right. Well, no sign of Hecate. I've been seeing people pop in and out of chat, so I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, what are some other things? So yeah, the have plenty of stuff to do for the subathon. We'll be doing giveaways.
Yep.
We just talked a lot about some of the things that we'll be doing. We'll have a lot of chat interaction options for certain prizes. We will have some like chat being able to feed us stuff interactively.
Yes.
Back and forth interactions. Some other prizes that people can get. Some on-stream prizes and goals. Some future goals that might happen. Just a whole bunch of stuff.
All the good shit.
So show up for that on Saturday. Hope to see everybody there.
Yes, indeedy.
All right. Well, we've been on for an hour. We've given them enough time. We've talked about everything. So
all the things.
We'll begin here with this. Do a quick little intro, and then we'll get to it. As always, when you hear greetings gamers, feel free to spam hi YouTube if you were in chat. This will be a pretty quick one. This is the ice troll from Hecate. All right. Greetings gamers, and welcome to another homebrew review from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I am your host Vortex. That gentleman over there is your co-host Kage, and this is a new creature, a giant creature from our submitter Hecate. It is an ice troll. Let me bring that up for you, an ice troll. Now, we have seen elemental giants in the past, and I've seen the standard troll in the monster manual, but I have not seen an elemental troll before. So I'm really curious to see if we will get inspired for anything new, or is this just a reskin of another elemental giant? But join us today as we find out what exactly the ice troll has in store for us. Let's get to it.
So I will say, throughout a little bit of my research, but during the transition process, I did find an actual ice troll. It is
a real one,
a D&D ice troll. It's from a somewhat of an obscure reference. I'm not sure what it is. I'm gonna see if I can find it. The initials for the reference are IDR OTF. IDR OTF, and so I'm not sure what reference that is.
I'm not sure what IDR OTF is.
Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Oh, Icewind Dale, Rim of the Frostmen. So it's a book by them. But okay, so it's just like a supplemental book.
Yes, it's a supplemental book, but they do have stats for an ice troll in there. So, you know,
this is very old school though. Yeah, this is definitely more like, I mean, this is a 5th edition stat block, I guess. But
is it?
This one says it is, but it's also, yeah, it's Forgotten Realms. It says this one's very basic. I think it looks like Pathfinder also had one as well.
Okay.
So looks like these were very basic creatures previously. I mean, even with this one, you know, combat didn't have a whole lot going for it. This one doesn't even come with like a stat.
I can tell you the one that I found.
Oh, they've been in almost every edition. So even 1E had something, but these were super basic. But it looks like they were, for the most part, more of a, from what I can tell just by reading and skimming some of this, it looks like they were all trolls just for different regions and not so much elementals. Like, so you got the ice troll for the ice region, but you got a different regular troll for like the forest.
Sure.
So it was more of a environmental flavoring.
Out of curiosity, what CR does that 5th edition version say that it is? Or does it have one on there?
Challenge rating 8.
Challenge rating 8. Okay, cool. I have the same thing. Interesting. All right, cool.
So it's kind of something that's, you know, been around, but we'll see if this feels anything new. I haven't really run into anything. Like I said, I'm expecting this to be more elemental than just a where it lives kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, as always, we will start with the description. The ice troll from Hecate. Ice trolls are fearsome giants that thrive in Arctic environments. With white, frosty skin and jagged icicles growing from their backs, these hulking beasts are covered in freezing auras. Known for their vicious appetites and cunning hunting tactics, they attack with brutal claw and bite strikes, freezing their victims in place. Their ice-cold blood is as deadly as their claws, making them even more dangerous when injured. I love this. I am getting the feeling that this is definitely more of the elemental type. I'm starting to wonder if we should just maybe consider a name change just to differentiate it from the standard. So maybe a frost troll would make just a slight change.
Sure.
We already have an ice troll, a frost troll, a tundra troll.
And to be honest, it feels like, because this came in a collection of frost things, they had a frost moth that we reviewed. So like they were just trying to troll.
So that would be my first suggestion, is because then it would differentiate it from what's the standard, and now we're not rewriting it. It would go along with the rest of it, and I feel that would set us up to know this is definitely about an elemental with funny? The magic.
That's my exact same argument for why Jackie Chan's Karate Kid should have been called the Kung Fu Kid.
Right? Because it was Kung Fu in the goddamn movie.
I was so upset.
At least they did it some justice and brought it back, like because they redid the actual one. Like they kind of brought back the original storyline and redid it. Because
I just heard that there's another one coming out.
Because Will Smith did the bad one. His kid did the one that like was the Kung Fu Kid.
Smith, yeah.
But there's the newest one that brings back the original actor. And basically, it's like he has to.
Yes, it's him way much older.
And I think Jackie Chan's in it.
Jackie Chan is in it, and I think the person that they're training is actually
like the real kid,
related
real
to the Jackie Chan actor.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that they're actually bringing the real story back, because that flop of a movie.
I'm definitely glad they went back, and they actually reference Mr. Miyagi in it, and I don't know
shrine in it. Yeah, the fact that the actor, like the kid, like is actually doing the dojo now. I really appreciate that.
There's a Netflix series about
I remember that.
Cobra Kai or whatever.
Yeah, I remember when that came out,
and I think it might have some sort of connection in that same universe.
It really should, because he was the same actor too.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Again, it was all amazing. I loved all of that.
It's a very good universe.
All right, so yeah, my first and foremost, just Frost Troll would be perfect. So moving on to this image that almost gives me the idea of like it gives me dwarf vibes, just how like the build of it.
Yeah.
But I like that. That is
very cool.
That doesn't look large. That looks gargantuan.
And that I love the representation of the like icicles all across the back type deal. Just, almost like Baraka or like a what do you call them? What are the things that like roll up? Hedgehog, something to that effect. But
you know what I want the lore to be is that because this thing is still like alive, it's not actually powered by cold. It like just has a heat, like a way to heat itself. But like you could make it a whole reason for each of the trolls to have this. But each of them evolved from something, right? Like they all kind of came from a maker. What if this one, started going into the tundra and evolved to have like it came from another area that maybe had like a little bit of like hair on its back.
Sure.
But in this area, it would wear stuff. But what if one of the issues was that it like sweats a lot, but it sweats from its back? Like that's just it's changed because the wind was always blowing everywhere else.
Sure.
So it adapted to where it only sweats on its back. But when it sweats, its back becomes caked, and then it freezes. And then when it sweats again, it's wicked all the way to the edge until it's frozen. And so really what it is it's like, you could even say like, it's actually like just one of its processes of getting rid of waste. And that's how you could make it even more jagged, because it's like saltwater ice. So you could even say that it has different, I could see that as being a logical way of it, instead of it just having ice grow. I kind of like the idea that you can really like build upon that. All right, so moving into some of the basic abilities of the ice troll, we have a large giant, and it is chaotic evil. Our armor class is 15 with natural armor, hit points 161. It's a 17d10 plus 68, and we have a speed of 40, which makes perfect sense for something that large. You want it to have some pretty large strides. I would, even consider saying that that's like a 20 when not in snowy conditions.
Oh, sure.
Or when ambient, like basically you could slow it down by heating it up.
Got you.
We have a strength of 20. We have a dex of 13, a con of 18, an intelligence of 8, a wisdom of 10, and a charisma of 7. Saving throws, we have a strength and constitution saving throws. We are skilled in perception and survival. Damage resistance is cold. Makes sense. I'm surprised it's not immunity, but it's fine. Maybe because we want to keep it low CR.
Sure.
Because this one's only showing a CR of 7. Damage vulnerability is fire. Absolutely. Senses, it has dark vision and passive perception. It speaks only giant, and it is a CR 7. It's not meant to be impressive. It's obviously not meant to be like the BBEG. This is definitely something that you would just come across. Something that you might just stumble across. That's not terrible. I do expect a high dexterity, a high strength and a high constitution. Dexterity is fine at a 13. I don't mind the wisdom and intelligence being there, and the charisma is definitely the dump stat. That's very well balanced. Honestly, that feels very well balanced. I wouldn't mind. I know it would probably bump up the challenge rating, and I wouldn't mind giving it immunity to cold.
So I was gonna say, looking at what I've seen over here, this looks like a buffed up version of the other
of the actual
with
ice
the
troll.
exception of this ice troll does have immunity to cold, and its AC is slightly higher. Theirs is a 16, where this is a 15. So that might be
the balance. Is this is beefier? It'll hit harder, but
this one does have I don't want to say a lot more, like 115 versus 160 HP. So this one's got a little bit more HP. It's got more movement speed. It's got more strength.
I would say that if the original has immunity, I would say if this is supposed to be beefed up, I would also give it immunity.
But it's a challenge rating 7, where this one's a challenge rating 8. So it's
almost like a mirror or like a side version of it.
Yeah. So
that would be something that I would definitely want to make note of. And I wish we had Hecate here, but I would just make a call to that and just suggest reading up on that and making sure you understand what your goal is with the build, because similarly, usually builds need to solve a problem. And if this is essentially the standard ice troll with a different AC and a different HP, why make a whole new creature and not just adjust it as a DM? That's my only thing, is if this is supposed to solve something, let's understand why. But if the other thing is essentially in the same ballpark, why are we creating a brand new creature? And this will have different abilities like the blood and everything else like that. But it just makes me question, why would it be so close when you could just say, hey, this one has an optional ability to do X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
So that would be my thing about these stats, is that this is really just in line with that. It's kind of beefed up, but it's not.
Sure.
So what are we doing here? Like, what's the goal? And if this is just meant to be an improvement, if this is just what Hecate thinks is a fix or an improvement to that, fine.
You know what this made me think of? You know how you have class abilities, you have race abilities, different creatures have like wolves have pack tactics, like certain things that are kind of. What about like regional abilities? Like imagine. Like, because we've seen it a lot, cold aura. Let's just use that as an example.
Right.
How about there is a regional ability that, say, if you wanted to have a snow fox in a certain area might potentially have a cold aura, right? And any other variation type creature, a snow bunny, a snow whatever, could potentially have this cold aura ability type deal. So that way, when you're thinking about, hey, I want to customize this standardized creature for my, like you're talking about, instead of building out a whole new custom homebrew.
Keep certain things static, kind of like when you choose a race. How do you keep it static?
Yes.
In one respect, but also make it feel like it is itself.
Exactly. And so like you could give these little like regional abilities, like you could have regional abilities for the desert, regional abilities for a swamp, regional abilities for like, cold areas, whatever the case may be. And then you could just like augment these different creatures to feel like they fit in a certain location a lot easier.
I like that. Yeah. 100%. You also bring up too that I don't know why that reminds me, but it's in kind of the same ballpark. I started chatting with somebody on TikTok, another creator, and we happened to bring up that we have similar ideas for when we started encouraging people to add that like customized loot to their builds.
Oh yeah.
Wait. Very similar ideas, and we had a nice little chat about that. So
very cool.
Yeah, it is just those kind of things of making it feel more real. I like that. But what you were saying is just keeping everything consistent with some sort of categorization and some sort of consistent ability would be even nice, just to say that these all come from this same area, kind of like what we're doing with sublet and subclasses. It makes sense that
exactly
where they came from, they would all have a similar vibe, right? If they all came from the same frost forest, they should all have something that overlaps.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving down to the ability. So I'm not mad at any of these stats. It's just that knowing that they're so close to the other one, I don't know how to critique this because we're not really making anything new here. So I don't really know where to take this. I don't know what problem we're trying to solve. Sure. So I don't know if it should be stronger,
and again,
weaker.
I will say this. I don't know how obscure this reference is. I don't know how many people would have even known this exists. So it's very likely that they created this not knowing that this other one existed,
and that's why this might
to make something close enough that it feels like it matches,
which is great. I mean, if you come up with an idea brand new on your own, and then you find out that the OG creators made it almost identical, at least you're on the same par. At least you know the way you build things
makes sense to other people as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I suggest go check that out if that is a reference, because obviously if Hecate didn't know about it, maybe this is a scrap project. Maybe this is just something to redo. But I don't mind the saving throws. I don't mind the damage resistance. I mean, obviously I would go cold immunity, but I don't know what the goal is here, so I don't know where to take these stats. I kind of just feel like, yeah, they make sense, but
let me ask you this. Do you, out of what you remember from the Frost Moth and the Frost Moth Queen, like what problem would you say that solved more than something like this thus far from what you've seen? Like
it gives a new variable to combat. Like if you're just going to create another soldier and just be like, hey, the book has soldier, but this one's a soldier without a helmet, like we don't need a character for that, right?
Sure.
That's like, but the Frost Moth is a ice-based elemental with a unique style of flying, right? Like it's not so much there wasn't a problem to solve, but the idea is that when we put it into the fight, what's it trying to do? It's trying to give them an aerial combat that has a little bit of psychological, because that was the one that had the psyop, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like the problem was when going into battle, the problem to overcome was an aerial frost elemental with psionics.
Sure.
If if an ice troll already exists with similar health, similar AC, and similar stats, are you just changing it because as a DM you're just like, I just think that they could be different, which is totally fine for DM to do, but when writing one out, me as the person again flipping
if this is something you're trying to give to a bunch of other DMs to potentially use,
why would when I say it needs to solve a problem or it needs to answer questions, why would I use this over that one?
Sure.
If it's just because I think these stats are better, oh, that's cool. I would rather have that be a suggestion than you try to introduce me to a whole build.
Like if somebody created like an ice version of a dire wolf, basically.
Yeah, but all it does is live in the ice. It's like, oh, that's just cool. That's a great suggestion. But if it does something fundamentally different, right? If it has a breath weapon, or if you touch it and you take ice damage, that can make a whole new character, creation. But the stats, if you're just going to mirror it and just be like, oh, it has one extra ability, it's like it has to have more, right? It has to really solve more, like more of lore. It has to give more of a challenge in combat. I just don't want it to be the same thing, because I can make a dire wolf and just say it lives in the ice and give it one special ability. Sure. That's not really needed of a whole extra character sheet.
No, I feel that.
So yeah, so no notes, but also no understanding of direction.
Sure.
So it's kind of a 50-50. It's 50-50.
Yeah, it's a 50-50.
But we'll get to the abilities, because this is definitely something that the regular ice troll does not have, which is special abilities. Yes. Pretty sure all of the previous ones only had basic attacks.
They do. They have some. So I feel like most, and we can go over it when.
Okay, we'll go over this one first and see. Because I'm assuming that one has mostly just like attacks, but we'll see. So this one has regeneration. The ice troll regains 10 hit points at the start of its turn. If it takes fire damage, this trait doesn't function at the start of the ice troll's next turn. The ice troll dies only if it starts its turn with 0 hit points and doesn't regenerate. Okay, that's interesting. I would, for lore wise, I'd like more understanding of where the generation comes from.
I will say, at the very least, in 5th edition, that is standard across the board for all trolls, not just ice trolls.
Oh, they just get
every troll.
Oh, okay.
They have that exact same verbiage, except depending on what type of troll you are, it depends on the damage.
Are all trolls vulnerable to fire?
So no.
Okay.
But we'll say in the standard regular troll, it's acid damage or fire damage that they have to take for their ability to not function. For these guys, it's only fire damage.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So that's just a standard one. So keen smell, the ice troll has advantage on wisdom perception checks. They rely on smell.
That's also fairly standard for trolls.
And then ice blood. When the ice troll takes slashing or piercing damage, its blood splashes outward. Each creature within 5 feet of the troll must succeed a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or take 9 2d8 cold damage.
Interesting. Very interesting. That is like a very different version. So this ice troll has something called cold aura.
Okay.
Where basically the troll generates a 10-foot aura, and any creature in there takes 3d6 cold damage, right?
Okay.
For this, it's
only when it takes specific damage and then it hits you on a spray. So it's a modified version of the aura.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a saving throw for it, where this one, I'm pretty sure you just take the damage if you start your turn within the aura. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Also, another reason probably why it would be a little bit lower of a CR, because this is I would say I like this mechanic, like the way that this works. Like, you're getting splashed with its really icy cold blood. Like, I feel like you're kind of fighting what's the dude's name? Not Sub-Zero. The Batman villain. Whatever.
So still I'm kind of at that point where so far the only thing you've suggested is few stat changes and changing the one ability, right?
Sure.
So what I would go for instead is go one step further, lean into it, change enough to where it doesn't feel like you're just making your own unique rule for a one-off like fight, right? I would say swap acid with bludgeoning. So fire and bludgeoning stop its regeneration. Because if you think about it, if you slash it and it bleeds out, right? The idea is that the ice is kind of like the protection. The ice keeps growing. But if you bludgeon it, you're smashing the ice crystals. You're not damaging it enough to bleed, but you're breaking apart its like ice shield. So it would take time for that to regenerate before it to regenerate its health. So there's a way that I would go, is I would say, because it would normally be fire or acid, this one doesn't care about acid, but what it does care about is bludgeoning, because you're literally taking away that like ice shield it basically has, and it has to get that back before it can focus on its HP. So I would give that a swap, because then that would add some more dynamicism. Plus, it would give you a better reason to weigh out whether you do slashing, piercing, or bludgeoning.
Okay.
So another reason to lean.
Would you feel like it would have to be magical bludgeoning damage? They're not resistant to any other type of like.
That would actually, maybe that's the other thing this needs. Maybe this above that one needs resistant to non-magical.
Okay.
So it could still be a CR7, just a fancier version of it. So turn it into a frost troll, make the damage it needs magical, which would elevate it. And then I would say add the bludgeoning in replace of the acid along with fire. I think that would make this a very much more unique and dynamic fight, and not feel like I'm just fighting a troll that has a different ability.
Got you.
So that's where I would go with that.
Okay.
Any notes from you? I agree with you. I like the blood.
I do like the new blood mechanic. I'm not mad at that suggestion.
I even like the damage amount. It's just that I feel that there needs to be just enough more detail to make this entire encounter feel different. And right now it doesn't.
I do agree.
But leaning into the idea of bludgeoning damage, I think is just another unique aspect, because
no, I think that you could do a lot with the, like you're talking about, like these different types of damage, and just basically finding a different strategy to succeed in this battle versus just doing the same thing you do for any other old troll.
And what if you have a party that really just didn't want to be the typical party, and so no one took fireball?
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there should be that. That's why fire and acid usually works for the others.
Sure.
Because it's a regenerative
It gives you an
thing.
option. Yeah.
I think bludgeoning makes the perfect sense. I think that it leans into giving them more of the reason to use bludgeoning, but also arrows are fine if no one's that close. Monks are even better, because monks are all about bludgeoning damage. So this thing would be, going up against a monk would suck unless you had that bludgeoning damage option, which again would make most of those fighters feel great, because most everybody that has a weapon very rarely do you have a bludgeoning weapon. Most of your bludgeoning damage is fists.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that idea. It also maybe makes sense that would be lore wise would make sense. You know, that's what they're just weak to. So that's maybe what they would like fight with, or maybe not fight with as clubs. Like traditionally they would fight with clubs. Maybe they don't because they know, hey, there's kind of a truce here. Clubs are bad, so let's not fight with clubs. Like, you know, maybe there's just
it would be bad for both of us. All right.
Yeah. So how about we choose not to fight with clubs? You know, or if you're fighting with clubs, it's fists.
Look at the picture again, because I feel like they have some like crazy claws.
Yeah, they got some gnarly claws. So
yeah.
So let's move on. So unless you have any other options for the abilities, I would kind of just like something more to make it different, and I think bludgeoning is the way to go.
Okay.
And I also think the magical weapons needed would be great.
Oh yeah.
Just
magical
really
resistance.
Differentiate this.
Yeah.
So then we're going to end with attack. So it has multi-attack. The ice troll makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite, 2 with its claws. Its bite attack is a +8 to hit with a reach of 5 feet. I think that should be 10 feet because of how big it is. Like, it looks like it should.
Sure.
It does a 2d10 +5 piercing damage +5 or 1d10 cold damage. And the claws are +8 to hit with I'm sorry. That was the bite has 5 feet. The claws have 10 feet. And yes, that's what I wanted. The claws should have 10 feet, not the bite.
Okay.
So yes, the claws have a 10-foot reach, and they do 2d6 +5 slashing, +1d10 cold damage, and it also has frost breath. It recharges on a 5 to a 6. The ice troll exhales an icy blast in a 30-foot cone. Each creature that in that area makes a DC 16 saving throw, taking 8d8 cold damage on a fail or half on a success.
Okay. So I will say
I don't think the standard one has a breath weapon.
The standard one does not have a breath weapon. The standard one does have the exact same multi-attack. The attacks are slightly different in their damage. It's 2d6 piercing. It's 1d6 piercing and 2d8 cold.
Okay, so a little bit of a change up here.
And their claw is 2d6 slashing and 2d8 cold.
Okay.
And their claw has an additional ability that says if the target takes any of the cold damage, the target must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or have disadvantage on its attack, on its next attack, before the end of this creature's next turn.
Gotcha.
So
there's a little bit of a difference there. So especially with the frost breath, I really feel like, it needs the immunity to non-magical damage. That it makes it make way more sense. Then therefore, I also, it needs more to it though to help balance it. So that's where the bludgeoning would come in. I mean, I feel like this is not a bad idea. Like the uniqueness of this works. Like nothing doesn't work as it's written. It just as it's written, it's just too similar. Like I feel like it's not enough of its own thing. And I feel like if this is just like hearing this, if I didn't know it was from our community, I would just assume if I had seen this that someone just didn't like what the book had, and this was just their write-up for a one shot or for an encounter. This doesn't feel like, in my opinion, as written, I don't think there's enough here to justify that this is something brand new. But that's also not to say that small, unique, as we talked about this before, small, unique little changes just also diversify things.
Sure.
So there's not to say that there couldn't be multiple, ice trolls that have uniquenesses. But the problem with that is if we go that far, you just dilute everything. At that point, those minute differences should be up to the DM and their setting.
I was about to say, you're creating those things for your setting when you're creating, like, if you're creating a collection of ice trolls, it's like, there's, again, like you said, there's not a need for a collection of ice trolls. Like, just take an ice troll, and if you want it to do something specific, let it do that specific thing, like, because you said so. Like,
exactly.
This ice troll from this place learned and evolved to do this thing, and so now this ice troll can do that, right? So, and I totally get what you're saying, and I agree with the idea that I feel like being around for a reason. Like, I would love it, kind of what you were talking about with the bludgeoning damage. I would love it if, especially because it has a breath weapon as well, instead of on the claws, on the breath weapon, if you take any of that cold damage, you get subjected to the permafrost condition, especially because this came from Hecate.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
why isn't it
I think that would be
honestly permafrost should. You know how you mentioned earlier that there needs to be that underlying connection. All of Hecate's frost should induce permafrost.
At least in some way, shape, or form.
That's the underlying connection,
you know, unless you would say they're just not powerful enough. Like if you had something like small, like a squirrel, like maybe.
But something like this, like the breath weapon should do permafrost. The ice moth could do permafrost like that. That is 100% something that would make more sense to bring these all together. And yeah, with this one, I love the idea of wanting to change it up. It's just, this isn't enough of a change to justify a whole new creature, right? I would definitely, like, based off of the imagery and some of the abilities, I do want this. I do want a frost troll, not an ice troll. But I feel like this one just, it doesn't need to be like the big bad. It needs to be different. And really, you know, how big is a regular troll? Large?
Ice troll that I'm looking at is large, and a regular troll is also large, yes.
So, I mean, if we really want to make this thing, make it huge. Just make this a much bigger troll.
Sure.
Right? Make this like a huge troll. Or give it less armor class. Like, even give it like a 12 armor class, because it's ice, you know, like, it's shatterable.
Okay.
But, or, here's a fun option. Why not make it an armor class? Because, you know, this is an old D&D concept, but why not make the armor class different? Like, so it has a 15 armor class against like piercing and slashing, but 12 against bludgeoning.
You know what I would like to see, and this just came to my mind, and I want to create it now. Basically, if you strike this thing with X number of bludgeoning damage in one turn, or X number of fire damage in one turn, its AC like drops by 5 and then slowly increases by 1 over the next 5 turns. And because it's like
5 turns is a long time, but I see what you mean.
Growing back type deal. And like maybe it's not 5, maybe it's 3, but like whatever. But like the idea.
But until it gets that back, it can't heal. So like at least one turn, it has to get that back.
Yes,
I like that. Yeah. Like, another thing you just brought up or made me think of when you said that is, imagine for the bludgeoning damage, if you do so much to it, it also has a secondary. So, you know, if you do you do like the blood splash damage. What if you do so much damage on a bludge, you actually get shrapnel damage because you actually break apart the ice crystals and it like just shatters like in your face. Yeah. So these are things that I would do. So yeah, lower the armor class, give it more hit points, but then make it have also where, yes, all piercing and slashing will give you the blood, but enough like, you know, bludgeoning damage will also make it like shatter pieces, because that way it just feels super dynamic, but keep the bludgeoning damage that keeps the AC or the regen. So bludgeoning damage still doesn't allow it to regen.
But like, imagine you did that. You set it up so that when you do X amount of bludgeoning damage, it lowers their AC for like everybody else, and it stops their healing. But whoever does that bludgeoning damage, unless you can find a way to do ranged bludgeoning damage,
right,
would take that blowback. So it's like, it encourages you to do it. It encourages you to like sacrifice some of that extra damage and like proc that. Like, I feel like actions like that make the fight more dynamic when it almost forces you to interact with the mechanics of the creature.
Here's a crazy idea. Give it a trigger where, you know how sometimes fighters will get you can crit on an 18 or a 19 or something like that. Like
sure.
There's things you can do. You could even put that in these builds where on a hit of a 19 or a crit or an 18, like, you know, make it, because basically give the people the option, right? Like say that they can target it. So on a successful hit, when the die roll, when the die roll is like an 18 or a 19 or whatever on a successful hit, or you can just say that when critted, right? When critting against this enemy, you can choose a number of AC, say like up to 5.
Sure.
To take away during this hit. So you're coming in, you're going to smash your crit, choose up to 5 AC that you want to remove from this creature.
Okay.
You're going to take you're going to take a D6 for every AC you want to take away. So you will take all that AC away, but you also have to roll the shrapnel damage. So anytime you crit, you can take 1 to 5 AC away from this thing, but you are going to take 1 to 5 D6 of damage in return.
Okay, I'm kind of here for that.
And if you do that on any successful hit on a die roll of 18 or higher, it's always up to the players on whether or not they should take the brunt of that damage to just knock this thing's AC down. And you can make the AC wild. You can make a D10, D12 for all you care, right?
Right.
You could make it, and then you could cap it. Like you can only lower it by 1 every time you do this, or up to 5 because it's a crit. But
sure.
Like make it to where it's like I could sacrifice myself and let everybody just mollywop this, or I could just chunk that damage as the barbarian or as the tank, and then we can just sit there and, gang up on it next round. So
right.
I would like to see something like that where there's a trigger, because we always think of things that it needs to do in order to balance, but why not things that happen against it, right? Like a reverse layer action. Like why not be able, kind of like in video games. I know we don't like to make tabletops more like video games, but video games do a great way at going through phases of boss fights and making each fight feel unique, each part of the fight. D&D is very difficult to do that with.
Right.
Like how do you do you can only target its eyes in D&D?
Yeah.
In a TTRPG. How can you do you gotta get it stunned and then grab its tail and then, whiz it off the side of the platform and then it's gonna jump back. You know what I mean? Like how do you represent that in D&D? But something like this where you could say, hey, if XYZ happens, you can make a choice. And by making a choice, you might be able to get a benefit or a detriment to the battle.
Okay.
Right?
And depending on the severity of you're willing to accept for yourself, it could be more beneficial or less beneficial.
And I feel like, yes, as a DM, you could just put these triggers in the encounter, which maybe we should add that to the DMG, is a chapter on triggerable encounters in encounters or triggers in encounters. So where certain things happen, if you're in a certain building, maybe, because we always think about this as DMs, but in the whole chapter of the ADMG, we could put it in there where, let's say they're in a certain building that's, full of, like books or something. If they do XYZ spells and miss, they have XYZ percentage chance of destroying something or lighting something on fire. Really just teaching DMs how to pre-build those triggers instead of waiting for the moment in game to be like, oh, that could happen. Just kind of help pre-build some ways that you can just be ready to build out an encounter and the environment to make sense, right? If there's a fish tank, let something be able to get wet. Like that could be part of the chapter, is like use the Occam razor or Chekhov's gun version. If you put an aquarium inside somewhere, if you put a fish tank inside somewhere, let something be able to get wet for good or bad. But let something be able to get wet. If you put in, if you say there are a dozen torches, something better be able to be lit on fire.
It's interesting that you say that, because like imagine, because it would be really hard for me to keep all of that in my mind, but if there was like a document that just had a bunch of like random shit like that, if you just started listing out like
we could do that,
torch, fish tank, like, and just like stupid stuff that like exists in different places.
And that's the whole point of the chapter. The chapter could be examples, but the point is like, the teaching people when you're building out a room, whatever's in there, not every little item, but if you have something in there, even just for looks, just again, if you have an aquarium in there and I say let something get wet, it doesn't have to be part of the plot. But if there's an encounter room and there's a fish tank in there, let the fish tank be a target. If someone misses an arrow, let the fish tank fall over and create being slippery on the ground, right? Something as simple as that. Like just whenever you're building out your room, you don't have to plan for every object, but you as the, because they don't know. Like you described
fish
it.
Tank, you could just say like water. If somehow like there's water and like these
and
are
as
the
long
types
as you
of things,
described
like,
it,
glass could be something else. If you break glass or shatter glass or something,
and that's the thing is like it's one of those ideas where you're not trying to get your players to realize, oh, you can break the glass and make this thing wet, but it's more of a to make your world feel more lived in. If you described it when they walked in and said, "Oh, you're in a library, there's a fish tank on the table, and there's this and there's that," it's like, "Oh, it's just a goldfish," right? Like, and it's been a while. Then there's an encounter later, and then someone misses an arrow shot, and you're like, "Roll me percentile die."
Sure.
Oh, you knocked over the fish tank. No one's gonna think that matters. Nothing's gonna happen of it. But because you said it earlier, and because you pre-built your encounter, if this part of that chapter reminds you, hey, just make that a thing. When someone misses, just there's a percentage chance that gets knocked over. That's its only purpose. It's not there to reveal a secret message.
Sure.
It's literally there that you put it in the description. So choose a few of those items and just let them be those background things that you just don't know are interactable.
You can find a way to make it matter, you know, if it so happens that it becomes relevant, if it so happens that somebody interacts with it, it also happens that even if a player just comes up and says, hey, can I push over that fish tank? Can I, as I'm running past, use like a free object interaction to push it off so that it makes the ground slippery, and then maybe he's got disadvantage to chase after me, or something stupid like that, you know?
Yes, I like that. We'll call that chapter like Occam's dagger.
Yeah, Occam's dagger. Wild. I love it.
Because it's like, you know, instead of Occam's razor, right? It's like, it's gotta be like, or no, like Chekhov's dagger.
Okay, there you go.
Oh no, we could be really funny and actually call back to this conversation and call it Chekhov's fishbowl.
There you go.
The chapter is, do you want to write that down? Like, we should do that. Like, if we can write that down. Yeah, Chekhov's fishbowl will be the chapter title. And that's what we'll start out. You describe a room, blah, 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 and there's a fishbowl. That fishbowl should be able to be knocked over. And if there's a combat in that room, you should always be aware that if there's a missed opportunity or a missed attack, that fishbowl should be a target, right? And that's how you start the chapter, and then the whole chapter just explains to make your world feel lived in, make objects. Like, I think too many DMs, you know, add things that need value, and sometimes too many DMs add too much that has no value and their players get too focused on it. There's that middle ground where you need to have things that have a purpose but not a value. And that's what the chapter needs to talk about. Purpose without value. A fishbowl that can be knocked over either during combat, accidentally or intentionally, that serves no function towards the plot, doesn't have a value.
Sure.
But you can still do something with it. So, I like that.
Interesting. Okay, Chekhov's fishbowl. Got it.
Purpose without value.
Purpose without value.
All right, so getting back to Hecate, I'm kind of torn. This isn't a terrible build, but it definitely just feels too much like a reskin of what's already out there. Not like a reskin, but just it feels too similar. It doesn't feel like it's separated enough. But I do like the idea that, you know, I like the idea that the Frost Troll could use an upgrade.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, there's nothing I dislike about it. I'm without Hecate here to explain it. I don't know why I would choose this one over the regular Ice Troll outside of the extra ability. And at that point, me as a DM, I probably would have done that already.
Sure.
You know, I probably already have something a little bit different. So yeah, it's a little bit hard for me to justify exactly like the overall benefit, but I like the idea. I like where it's going. I definitely think that there could be something more to a magical troll. So I'll at least give it that. The idea that this is giving us an inspiration for a magical type of troll. I'll at least give it that bonus. So we'll give this a dead even 5.
Okay.
I mean, it's not terrible. Like, it's not unbalanced and it's not unnecessary. It's different enough to not just be it with, you know, looking different. But yeah, I'm not seeing it as its own standalone creature that I'm going to go out of my way to say, yes, I need that in my next encounter.
Sure. No, I feel that.
This feels like something I would have built just because I wanted to take the Ice Troll and be like, I want something a little bit different. That's what this feels like. And that's not to that's not to say anything negative against Hecate. It's just that these are the kind of like changes I would have made on the fly to make an encounter a little bit more enriched, not really looking for something brand new.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm going for. What's going on, Destructor? The image is hilarious. Yeah, that's what our newest submission just got turned in. So yeah, I definitely would like to see this thing bigger though, especially with this image. I would definitely like to see this thing as huge.
Yeah,
and not large.
I wouldn't be mad at that either.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed that, Hecate. If you are watching the VOD channel, yeah, I would say if you are familiar with the Ice Troll, then I would just say beef this up just a little bit, change it up a little bit. But if you aren't familiar with the traditions of the Ice Troll, I would go back, research it a little bit, modify this. Like I said, I wouldn't mind this thing having lower AC, much bigger health, having that bludgeoning and fire that takes away its regen instead of acid. I really like that idea. I like having enough bludgeoning damage that also causes a blowback of ice shards as well as the blood. I think all of those are great to stack, and I do like the breath weapon. So I like the build. It's just it needs a little bit more fine tuning to really hold its own and be something different than what we've seen before.
Sure.
So I hope you took something away from that Hecate, but again, let us know what you thought. And if you're watching this at home on YouTube, let us know what you thought. Do you think we were a little bit too harsh? Do you think this is enough of a difference to be its own ice troll? Or is it just kind of something that you would have done as a DM? Would you have changed up a few things just to make that encounter a little bit different? Let us know in the comments. We'd really like to know. But if you want to submit this, you can also join the Discord as well and join the community with us to submit your own. So thank you so much for joining us this week. We will be back next week with another video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a good weekend. But I'll see you next week. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.
All right. Yeah. Not bad. Yeah. I don't dislike it. It's just it's not enough. It's not different enough.
No, I kind of feel that, and I agree. There's a lot that I like about it. There's a lot that it kind of like it gets me on the mental track of, but it's all stuff that I would either want to do more of, or I would want to add something to it, or I'd want to like bring more out of it. So like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like there's so much potential there, but it's like I'm not through enough the surface to actually like grab a hold of it quite yet. So
yeah. But hey, you know what? That's why we do this, is to give our honest opinions and to hopefully give inspiration to the authors for something.
Sure.
Destructor, I'm glad you're here. It's been a minute. Welcome back. An announcement that you missed from the beginning of the stream is we're doing a subathon this weekend. So if you are free on Saturday, come in and drop in, say hi. We would love to see you. We're trying to get as much hype going for it. But yeah, we're going to be doing some minis paintings here in the tavern. We're going to be doing a bunch of giveaways, and there'll be a bunch of goals to do. So if you have some spare time on Saturday, come on by and say hi.
We'll be here all day.
We will be here. Yeah, 10 to 4 Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. right now is the slot. But of course, that timer will get extended based on what happens. So
sure. Yep.
And we have a lot planned for the day. We got a whole bunch of stuff already figured out, a whole bunch of goals. So it's going to be a fun day. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be cool stuff.
I did some practice this weekend.
I'm hyped for it. Yeah.
I did Saturday and Sunday. I did 2 like 6.5 hour long streams just to get myself ready.
I did see you went live quite a bit this weekend, so that was good.
I was doing a lot, but most of those were game streams, but I was just really trying to like get in that zone of what does 6 hours feel like on stream.
Fair enough.
But I'm excited. I'm very, very excited to see Soul's excited. I know Soul's excited.
Yeah, Soul's always excited, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I'm here for that.
Well, I mean, you know, Soul being our #1 fan and all.
Yeah. Big facts.
You know, the funny thing is, like, this is my very first subathon I've ever run. I've partially helped out with Vixies in the past.
Sure.
But a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, nothing, you know, direct. And I haven't been a part of mini subathons for other streamers before. It just doesn't line up when I'm able to do that. So I think what we have is pretty solid. I think we have a lot of fun ideas. I think that the entire vibe is going to be really great. It's just, you know, it's one of those things where I get hyped for some of my streams and then like nothing happens, like no one shows. And then there are other streams where I'm just like, I just don't want to be here today. And then like everybody shows up. I'm just like,
those are the big ones.
Like, so that's one of those things. I'm happy that it's on a Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it, but not that I would be like disappointed if nothing happens, but I'm trying not to get into that mindset of allowing myself to feel bad. Because we have, you know, I just have to look at it as it's a day with all my friends, right? I mean, Vixie's going to be there. You're going to show up for part of the day. Lucifer's going to show up for part of the day. Wanderer's going to show up for part. Like we got 3 special.
It's going to be way cool. It's going to be way cool. I love this.
We have so many giveaways. That means that we have 5 minis that we're going to give away throughout the entire day.
Including the big one that you got going on.
Yeah, I'll be the final giveaway, the one that I'm doing. But that'll be 5 total minis that we're giving away.
Okay.
That's absolute insanity.
That's so wild.
Subathon and D&D. Yeah, so I don't know how you're gonna do both. Like, well, I guess it depends on when your D&D session is, if it's before, during, or after the subathon. But Yeah, it'll be interesting. That's the problem is when you do these things, like you can't do them during the day, during the week, because most people work, and then on the weekends everyone's always busy. Stupid.
So stupid.
I would really like to know where, all of our potential fans, I would like to know what the best time to go live would be with them. Like,
okay,
that's my biggest thing is how do we get people to, how do we find those people who want to watch us, but when do they go live? Like, when do they go and watch?
True.
Because I've polled the Discord before, and people in the Discord have mentioned that one of the biggest issues with Misfit Gamer Studios is our streaming schedule.
Interesting.
Like even since day one, like Mondays and Friday afternoons have just been difficult for many people. It works for us, which is kind of why we do it.
Yeah, very much so.
It's unfortunate because there's a lot of people out there that have mentioned that. But
I'm curious, like, if that's the case, then what days would be better? Is it weekend days? Is it like Saturday, Sunday? Is it?
Well, and that's what kind of gets to me sometimes is I do these things where I'll have a day off. I'll start at like 11 and I'll go till 7 p.m. And it's like, well, that was a whole day during the day, evening, afternoon, like,
sure.
And then, on the weekend, I did, multiple streams. I started at 11, went, until 6 p.m. And it's like, well, where, like, if these aren't the popular days and these aren't the popular times, and like, this isn't the stuff that you want to see me doing. Like, I'm glad I've never really been super dedicated to game streaming, because I will say that when I do put in an entire day to play a game on stream and I only get like 5 max viewers the entire day.
Sure.
That's, for me, that's hard. That's hard. Not in a psychological way, not like I'm depressed, I'm no good.
Right.
But in that whole thing of, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put, because game streaming, you have to put in way more hours. Like this, we could do an hour and still have a podcast. Right.
Yes.
We could still have a conversation and still be an episode. But when you're game streaming, I can't just hop on and play for like an hour. Some games, like some games need dedication, right? I played Kingdom Come Deliverance this weekend, and 2 days in a row I went over 6 hours each day and still barely scratching the surface of the game.
That's so crazy.
It's such an involved game.
Crazy.
But over the course of both streams, I think I got like a max of like 12 people, like 12 individuals over the course of 2 days. We get that in a single D&D stream.
Sure.
You know what I mean? On a good night. So it's like, that's where it's like, yeah, people say it's not the right days and not the right times, but is that because there are other more important streamers out there that maybe are at the same time? Or is it
I don't know if it's this, but maybe it's they want to see the content that we're putting out on Mondays and Fridays on those weekend slots, right? So it's like, and again, it's because, I mean, I know, again, like Hecate and Soul, they're here just because they're here, right? But like, I don't know how many people are looking to see things like homebrew review or some of our community creations on those days, I mean, some of our Misfit Gamer creations, so like it could be that, but it could also just be,
and that's why I'm also pushing for us to just expand away from D&D, not leave it behind, but just branch away and branch off, because maybe that's also it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, video games aren't it. I'm obviously just not a very entertaining video game streamer, and I'm fine with that. I don't want to be. You know what I mean? It's like, it would be cool. It would be nicer to have a larger community that likes Soul and Hecate that will just show up for a game stream. But I don't want that to be why people show up for me, right? Yeah. I'd much rather be a talk show host and have a podcast. But I really think that we need to find other stuff, because it's just, if this time frame that we can easily continue with is not for the D&D crowd, then maybe it's for the OSR crowd.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's for, that's the thing is maybe D&D, there's just a day we can't work for that. At least with the current schedules.
Okay. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. So, I agree that, playing around with what we can do, we'll play around with like the people that can show up the times that we're here, what they are going to want to start watching. Like, maybe on Fridays, we start seeing a lot more people show up when we do different types of content. So it's like, oh, okay. So the people that want to see this kind of stuff are available on Fridays. So we can start doing this more on Fridays or whatever to keep that momentum going, or whatever the case may be. So, I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah. And then Friday, I did confirm that we are going to be here on Friday as well. We will finally be doing Johnny 5, the pop culture build for Johnny 5.
Yes.
Haven't been able to find a good source for watching the movies yet, so I might just have to look up clips.
Okay.
And put together some.
Can you
some clips for
see
myself.
if maybe you can pester Lucifer and maybe he can add it to his server?
Oh yeah, I always forget about that. I never use it. So.
I mean, neither do I. But that was my next thought. Is like, where would I like go to like get the thing?
That's true. Yeah.
So
we're finally going to be able to do that. I'd like to watch the movies, but if not, I'll just watch the things. And I still have to figure out: do I want to do just one progressive build that goes through all of his iterations, or do we want to treat it like a race with like subspecies where each one is like the intellect version of him and like a subclass almost?
If you do find a good clip that you end up watching that gives you a really good...
I'll send everything I have to.
Yeah. Just because I think knowing that, like, first, I think watching the movies would help us answer that question. But if we can find something, you know, maybe he's been in a death battle before for some freaking reason, and so they go through. Oh, he has.
He's come very close to death before.
No, like in like the death battle channel. Like there's a YouTube channel where they do
I know Death Battle,
but they go through like all of their feats and all that kind of stuff, and like their kind of
if anyone
power
else has ever broken it down.
So if he's been in a death battle, we might be able to go through that and like get a good decent amount of.
All right. I mean, we already know he's a Warforged, so I mean that's just
I mean you got to.
It's done.
You got to.
It's done. You think he's been on there, Soul? Okay. Hey, if you find it, Soul, send me the link.
Oh yeah,
send me the link in Discord. All right. Well, what else do we have? I don't think we have any other major updates other than just the Subathon. We'll do pop culture builds, and I don't really want to give anything else away for Subathon prizes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, fair.
Like, I want to generate hype, but if everybody knows what's available, like,
yeah, I think the anticipation of knowing what is gonna come is helpful. So I'm here for it.
I am also here for it. There's quite a bit on here, and we have some pretty. We the goal is 30, but there might be a few stretch goals behind that. So
Sure.
See where we go. Let's see where we go.
Yep.
I hope everybody will. I honestly just hope that we get a decent show up, at least of people. Throughout the day, it would be nice just to see like the general community.
It's on YouTube, free with ads. Short Circuit.
Oh, boom. I'll watch with ads. Cool. There we go. So, homework. Watch them. Is both of them on there or just the first?
I'm only seeing the first one, but I can look. Is it just Short Circuit 2?
Yeah, there should just be 2 movies.
Okay.
So... amazing just how fucking old these movies are,
right?
Like the second one came out in 88. The sequel, like
in 88. God bless.
Amazon has both of them. I can get both of them on Amazon.
Is it cost or is it?
Yeah.
Is it included?
Oh, that's actually like the CDs. That's not a rental. I don't want that. That was on Prime.
Short Circuit 2 is buy or rent on YouTube.
It also says maybe on Prime as well, so I might...
Prime?
Yeah. It says 2 at least might be on Prime. God, yeah, 1986. So, man, rewatching this movie is going to just definitely like remind me of just how much better prosthetics are over CGI. Like, even just the memories. I know like a lot of this stuff will look pretty like janky now that it's been a couple years, but at the same time, like I
still prefer it. I still prefer it.
I'm going to tell you right now, there is still absolutely no contest when it comes to the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Those bodysuits ain't no fucking contest. There's no CGI that has ever been able to do what those bodysuits did.
I was unfortunately having this. Now, I don't know if I've seen the one that she's talking about, but I was having this conversation with Krem the other night.
Yep. Short Circuit 2 is available on Prime.
Oh, is it free?
No, for rent.
Okay. But when Krem was talking about how the best TMNT movie was the most recent TMNT, it was almost like an anime TMNT type deal, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know how good it is, but I'm like, when I think about a TMNT, that's what I think of. I think of the bodysuits like that.
Yeah,
that is teenage. Like
Teenage Mutant Ninja
cartoon
Turtles.
back in the day was cool too. But
yeah,
like,
we're not talking about OG, but I'm talking about like when you talk about like the best movie, I mean, for every possible reason, like, you know, regardless of the fact that the plot and some of the writing was like, you know, definitely for its era, but still, just that amount of like, yes, the choreography could be so much better nowadays, but put him in bodysuits again, man. Stop with the CGI crap. Put him in a fucking bodysuit, animatronic face and everything. Like, I'm so tired of watching these mouths just like liquefy when they talk, and I'm like, bro. Just watching those turtles, even to this day, it holds up so well.
I decided to watch the new the Marvel TV series. What's it called? Ironheart.
Should we do a movie review on our podcast?
I was thinking about that.
MisfitGamersStudios, like
that would be kind of. It's
not really like game related though.
True, but you know, but I was what was I talking about? Shoot, did I lose it? I think I lost it.
I may have made you lose it.
That's all right. But still.
But yeah, so yeah, I will get those on Prime. Probably end up watching them on YouTube if you can, and then yeah, we'll do our research.
Cool. Sometime this week.
Movie to D&D encounter, something similar to image to item. Interesting.
Oh, I think that could be interesting. Like
a movie scene into a whole encounter.
Yeah,
or like I mean, movies into one shots are kind of like you just watch the movie and then just, you know, play through it. But there would be interesting ways to.
I like the encounter idea, especially if there was like a certain trap that somebody got set up in a movie that you'd love to like see if you could set up for your players, or a certain like battle that a certain group of people approached in a certain way, like they knew the battle they were coming up on and they got to prepare for it, and you got to basically stage the same battle in D&D for your players to prepare for. They can prepare for it differently, but like just setting stuff up, like I don't think that's a bad idea. Like you know,
now coming up with like an idea for like image to item encounter. We'll have to put this on the books for later, because we have first we have to do Johnny 5, then we have to do the other Echo Archer. But after that, we should do an image to item or an image to creature. Image to item for a creature. But we should build out the creature from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when they got chased out of the cave, when they were looking for the Castle of... And then they got chased out of the cave by that like multi-eyed like dragon looking monster.
Wild.
We could just take a still frame of that and make a creature build out of it.
Why is the first thing that came to my mind when you mentioned that the Princess Bride's ROUSs?
We can make those
rodents of unusual size.
Maybe that's what we need to start doing, is branching out to and just making things that
I kind of like that. Like it's almost like a mix between image to item and a pop culture build. You know,
ROUSs, they have pack tactics and they have advantage to grapple.
Yep.
So they'll jump at you from like 30 feet away.
And if they're in their lair, they can combo it with the little.
Oh yeah, that would be like how would you make that a
like a little strategy that they learn to like, or
how do you
call it?
How do you add that to a D&D game? Like how do you make it randomized like that?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it wouldn't be that bad. You would just grid the map, and then you would just have a die for one side, a die for the other. You roll them like percentiles, and then you would just hone in on who gets hit.
I like it.
Interesting. Ooh, yeah, you could do something where wherever the last one was, you roll like a d6, and that's how many squares away the next one will be. So up to like d6 squares away. And then from that square, you roll like a percentile die, which will like tell you.
I thought they would be like little mounds on the ground that are like static mounds, and you just kind of like roll a die to see which one of them goes off at this point in time.
But that's what I mean. But like, because they were kind of just almost anywhere, like they could just happen. Like even in the movie, they were just like walking and they would just happen. So I was just thinking like, yeah, if one pops up in this square, I roll a d6 to figure out how far, like, you know, like I roll percentiles to figure out how far away the next one will be. And then from that center, you roll another set to see which area it'll actually pop up in. So it's like, it'll be within like 20 feet of this one in the center, but then it could be within 15 feet of that center. Oh, so it's like 2 grid spaces of.
I see what you're saying.
So it's literally random, and you're just rolling and being like, if you start or end your turn and this thing goes, and you just say like, it's always on like it has its like own initiative. So it's like, you never know when they're going to happen.
True.
I like that.
Very wild.
All right. So yes, if y'all know any other way to hype up a subathon, let me know. Hype it up in the Discord. I really hope we can get it. I would love to have it with knowing how many people we have in Discord. I would love at least 25 unique viewers, because you know, subathons are not. I was talking with Vixie about this. Subathons aren't where you get new people. Like subathons aren't like a bring it in. Subathons are 100% meant for the community you have.
Yeah. So
knowing how many people we have in Discord, around 20 to 25 unique viewers, with most of those being our community, I really hope. I'm hoping we can at least get some stop-ins and just say some highs. I don't care about the subs. I don't care about the bits. Yeah, that's all there for you guys, but
stuff to interact with.
To be able to say that we did a subathon and to see more than half the Discord show up would mean so much.
That would be way cool.
Just to know that we have a general community and not just, you know, a Discord server and like 3 fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my only biggest hope with this, is that it turns into an actual like community show up and not just another stream.
Yeah.
But
I vibe with that.
Depending on what people like the most, we'll do another one.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you're supposed to do these, but it's my birthday and we haven't done one yet, so that's a good excuse.
Any excuse to have one. We could do it on our next anniversary. We could do it on our next New Year's. You know, whatever.
But yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Anyway, tune in for the rest of the week. I may go online for some games, but otherwise we'll be back on Friday for Johnny Five's Pop Culture Build.
Yep.
And we'll be back on Saturday for our very first subathon.
Yes, indeed.
I'm looking forward to that. But I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I think we'll cut it here a little bit early since everyone's pretty much left. But Soul, have yourself a good rest of your night. We will see everybody on Friday, and I hope we see absolutely everybody.
Yes. Come on now.
All right, y'all. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.